is in short supply, not just in the national capital, but across the country. Today, 24 people, including some COVID-19 positive patients, died at a hospital in Karnataka, allegedly due to the shortage of oxygen. The incident took place at a district hospital at Chamarajnagar, where at least 144 patients are being treated. Nolan Pinto has this report.
24 lives. Yes, 24 lives have simply evaporated here in one single night. The new horror to hit Karnataka here in Chamarajnagar on Sunday. The reason for most of them, all too familiar now, is that oxygen supplies ran out. Officials tell India Today that 23 patients died at the district COVID hospital and one at a private hospital. 12 patients died due to lack of oxygen, while others died of COVID-related complications. Sources say the oxygen plant at the hospital had run short of oxygen by Sunday night. The 6,000-litre capacity oxygen plant on the hospital premises can sustain the oxygen needs for 1.5 days only. But locals alleged that the authorities were fabricating the number of deaths. They claimed that even non-COVID patients had to face oxygen shortage, resulting in their deaths.
75% recovery ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್. ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಬದಿಗೆ ಬಿಡೋರು ಸರ್. ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬದಿಗೆ ಬಿಡೋರು ಸರ್.
Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa expressed grief regarding the deaths and said that the government stands firmly with the family members. He also ordered an inquiry headed by a senior IAS officer. Health Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar, who immediately rushed to the hospital 175 kilometers away from Bengaluru, said that he will have to ascertain what really happened.
ಚಾಮರಾಜನಗರದ ಘಟನೆ ನಿಜವಾಗಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಬಹಳ ನೋವಿನ ಸಂಗತಿ, ಅತ್ಯಂತ ದುರದೃಷ್ಟಕರವಾಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಈಗ ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಈಗ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾನು ಚಾಮರಾಜನಗರಕ್ಕೆ, ಮೈಸೂರಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಮಂಡ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ 3 ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಭೇಟಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು.
Local residents protested when the health minister arrived at the hospital and the police had to detain them. But the Congress has cautioned the government, asking whether this was a case of COVID mismanagement.
There's a criminal neglect by the government of Karnataka. They don't seem to have a blueprint in place for us to get out of the pandemic. They don't seem to know the way forward on how to deal with the logistics for oxygen. They don't seem to have a plan for the increasing lack of facilities of health infrastructure in the rural areas.
Now, this is the latest tragedy to hit Karnataka, a state already reeling with a record number of COVID-positive cases, topped off with last week's admission from the state government that 3,000 plus COVID-positive persons are still untraceable. With video journalist Madhuar, Nolan Pinto for India Today.
Remember, oxygen shortage remains a major issue, and I want to turn to doctors who are facing it on a day-to-day basis at the moment to tell us where the problem lies and what the solutions are. Dr. S.C.L. Gupta is medical director at Batra Hospital in Delhi, where 12 patients died allegedly because of an oxygen shortage over the weekend, including the head of one of their departments. Dr. Vishal Rao is a member expert committee, COVID Task Force, Government of Karnataka, and Dr. Arun Sethi is a leading doctor here in the national capital. Appreciate all of you joining us at the moment. I want to come to you, Dr. Gupta, because yours has been a tragedy of the highest order. 12 people have died over the weekend allegedly because of oxygen shortage, Dr. Gupta, including the head of your gastroenterology department. We are told that Batra Hospital now doesn't want to have any more beds because you're worried about the oxygen shortage. Tell us what you have gone through in the last few days. Give our viewers a sense of how difficult it is now to run the hospital.
This is one of the biggest tragedy I have seen in my life in Batra Hospital, and that too patients are dying because of a lack of oxygen. See, what is the treatment of corona today? Is an oxygen, drugs, and vaccination. Nothing is available. Oxygen is one thing. It's a 500-bedded hospital, 80% COVID beds. Oxygen requirement is about 8,000 to 9,000 liters per day. Supply is not there. One side, government is saying there's a lot of oxygen in our country. One side, people are saying we are not lacking in oxygen and medicines, but still the patients are dying. I cannot understand, and everything is decided by judiciary. Who is ruling this country, a politician, executive or judiciary? I do not know. But the question remains the same. Oxygen, which is the only treatment, there is no debate in the corona treatment is oxygen and which is not available to the patients. Resulting is, you are opening...
So what is the government saying? What is the government saying, Dr. Gupta? Sorry, what is the government saying, Dr. Gupta? Every time you ask them, this seems to be a daily problem at the moment. What do they tell you when you call them up?
Scarcity of oxygen. But the other government is saying we don't have.
Then where is the problem?
Cryogenic trucks to bring the oxygen and supply to the hospitals. Now, what the government is doing in the last so many years, 14 months, 15 months, for corona, this is second pandemic of a corona. Now, nobody has learned anything. At least these three things should be available. Opening a makeshift hospital is not an alternative for these therapies. You are providing oxygen there, but you are not providing oxygen to a already with a good infrastructures hospitals.
So on Saturday,
in case of opening a
Dr. Gupta,
1,000 beds. Pardon?
Dr. Gupta, but when on Saturday 12 patients died in your hospital, including the head of one of your departments, was it lack of planning that you...
1 hour, 1.5 hours. Since morning we are trying from the government that please, we have got an oxygen left for only half an hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, but we could not get the supply. Then we had maintenance with the cylinders for another half an hour. There was a time there was no oxygen at all in the hospital and resulted in the death of 12 innocent patients. And out of that, one was the corona warrior who has fought his life for the corona patients. Unfortunately, he died because of the corona intensive care unit of Batra Hospital.
This is
very,
very tragic what you're telling our viewers. Yes.
My submission today is, go through your channel, whosoever is listening. But what our hospitals demand is, please, give the supply of oxygen to the hospital by A or B or C. This is the lifeline for the treatment, number one. Number two, supply may be twice a day, thrice a day, but we should not be begging for the oxygen. We should not be going from pillar to post for the oxygen. This should be an automatic supply. Number three, there should be a government official who is responsible, because suppose in Delhi there are 300 hospitals and the one nodal officer for 300 hospitals is not going to really help. What we can help is 15, 20 hospitals and one nodal officer, and who should be a self-sufficient person. He should be able to take decision, and whenever such tragedies are going to happen, they must take instant decision and supply the oxygen from the nearby area. What happened that day? When we are in short of oxygen, Delhi government tankers were 50, 60 kilometers far off from this place. Obviously, it will take 1.5 to 2 hours to come to the hospital. So there should be a hospital. The Delhi should be divided into 4 zones as per the administration, whatever it is. But oxygen supply during the emergency must be available within 15 to 20 minutes. Whatever is a little amount is there, 500 liters, 1,000 liters, so that loss of life should not be there because of the oxygen.
But we just,
Second-
you put it very well to us. You need a complete change in the planning and execution of this oxygen program. I'll come back to you, Dr. Gupta, in a moment. I just want to go to Dr. Vishal Rao because we've had a tragedy today in Karnataka. Till yesterday, we were told Karnataka does not have an oxygen problem. At least that was officially reported. Now we've had this tragedy in Chamarajanagar in a hospital. Is Karnataka also struggling with planning and execution? Where is the problem? India seems to have sufficient amount of oxygen. Just the distribution links don't seem to be working. We've got 3,000 oxygen concentrators in any case sitting at the airport because of the customs. But even in supply terms, where is the problem for Karnataka, a state with a strong health infrastructure?
Rajdeep, Karnataka is not only a state with a very good health infrastructure, but also one of the largest liquid oxygen manufacturing units in the state, which is supplying currently to the entire country. So naturally, what is happening here is there is a very dynamic situation day to day that is changing, where we are talking to, if you are interacting with a small hospital of about 50 to 100 bedded, they are telling you that their demand, which was there on a non-COVID day, has now at least tripled, double to triple if you're treating COVID. Now that's because a large extent of it, patients who are coming to the hospital are primarily patients who need oxygen. Asymptomatic people like in the first wave or the patients with fever are not coming. It's the patients who are needing oxygen who are exclusively coming to hospital. And it is in these patients that the oxygen, either in the ventilator or through high flow nasal oxygen or through other methods, is being utilized in very high rates. So naturally, there is a gap that is happening from the time of allocation to the company. So for example, if I'm just giving some name of some top companies who have, if they have an allocation today of, let's say, 300 metric ton and their demand is 500 metric ton, they are not able to demand. So what is happening also is a difference between cities and districts. Now in cities, the tankers, like these companies come and give you oxygen to the hospitals per day. Whereas in districts, what we are seeing is many of the districts, the hospitals are taking cylinders and going it to refill. So there is a dichotomy between cities and districts where management is happening. And obviously the denominator is that oxygen suppliers have certain amount of capping on which their oxygen thing is there and the demand is doubled. So this is a very dynamic, complex situation. And further adding to this is the logistic issue. The logistics of
So what's the solution? What's the solution? If it's a logistical nightmare, what is the solution?
I think each state's allocation will need to increase and the manufacturers. So for example, if each of these manufacturers are given an allocation of 300, but their demand is 500, the allocation would need to increase. Only then will this problem change. So for example, if my hospital is using four MCPs, what you call pellets of cylinders, and now the demand is 8, which means it has doubled. Then naturally, I go to my oxygen supplier and I ask him, saying, can you give me 4 extra? He says, no, sir, my allotment is not there. So what do I do? So unless each oxygen manufacturer, the big players in the oxygen manufacturing units, if their allocation has not increased, number one, and number two, they also need to be supported logistically, which means all these argon vehicles or these oxygen carrying vehicles, which industrial purposes are being used, will need to all be directed towards oxygen transport, because it is not just manufacturing now or allocation, it's also the supply logistic chain that needs to be matched. Even if there is a 1 to 2 hour delay, like what Dr. Gupta said, there is going to be havoc. So logistical planning is utmost importance, creating green corridors for these oxygens so that they are supplying, and the machines, the argon vehicles or these oxygen supply vehicles need to be maintained in a fast track mode.
You know, in fact, this is where apparently the army may well be called in to help in the supply chains, where also, of course, Delhi claimed they have not even got the allotment that was promised to them. So there are questions over allotments that you raised. But Dr. Sethi, you have any solutions? Do you believe maybe we can get some of the smaller hospitals which have possible oxygen cylinders with them and give them to the larger hospitals and make the larger hospitals COVID only? What are the solutions?
Rajdeep, good evening. I'm Dr. Arun Sethi. See, I'm an ophthalmologist and I'm not into the COVID treatment. Having run hospitals and being a doctor more than 40 years standing, my understanding is that you need solution. The first solution is immediate. You need to gather all the oxygen that's available in the city. So where is the oxygen lying? A lot of oxygen lying in small nursing homes and clinics, which do little procedures but need oxygen in case of an emergency. So a data list has to be prepared, and national appeal has to go out. And this every drop makes a notion. So collect all these cylinders and use them at the moment for the COVID hospitals. The intermediate thing is that the government should consider now starting a legislation that any hospital more than say 50 beds must have its own captive oxygen production capacity. Why should we be running around to companies and asking them to supply through trucks and all that when this is a life-saving thing? Secondly, in COVID, what has gone wrong in India is I was doing a research thesis for a public health official in London. He done the study on northern Italy as to what went wrong in the first cause of the COVID. Now, in Italy, they found that majority of the patients who were receiving treatment domiciliary. But what happened was that as the numbers grew, patients grew panicky and started calling for ambulances and moved to the hospitals. Once they moved into the hospitals, the pressure was immense. Not everybody needed an ICU. Not everybody needed an admission. They could be needed at home. But the pressure built up, and the result was the central air conditioning system of the hospital started transmitting the virus even to the non-COVID patients because they didn't know there was an airborne thing of this magnitude. So you actually created a crisis which could have been averted. Similarly, in India, we need to have a system to supply oxygen like we supply cooking gas. I don't understand why can't we have a grid which supplies the city so that people can go to a spot like a CNG petrol pump or an oxygen depot and fill the cylinders from there. Why should we go to the manufacturer?
Right.
So the majority of patients who are suffering from respiratory illnesses could receive the oxygen supply at the doorstep to a pipe. And that will result in the fact that a lot of patients do not need to rush to a hospital. Today, in my opinion, 50% of the patients are rushing to the hospital don't really need to go there.
Right.
They need to stay at home, have a general physician examine them. Even if they're COVID positive, there are certain parameters which have to be met. And only when they are crossed should they be referred to a hospital. Secondly, why don't we make oxygen for the primary and national asset and stop private people from dealing and dealing with it?
I think
they do that in times of war, they ration petrol.
Right.
So why can't they ration oxygen? Lastly, why not set up a control center for every city, like for Delhi All India Institute, and they should regulate the oxygen supply in a transparent manner to the whole of NCR. They know the production, they know the supply. So if one person with the honest credentials does it, 80% of the problem will be solved. And you'll find that nobody should be allowed to enter an ICU in halfway. They should actually be referred from the primary center or from a family physician with specific recommendations to be reviewed by a review committee later to see whether it was justified. That will take a lot of pressure off tertiary hospitals, which at the moment doing primary and tertiary.
You're making a very strong point of how to take the pressure in a way off the hospitals, but clearly the supply links, the logistics, and indeed the entire system of planning and executing this massive project needs better coordination. I want to give a final word to you, Dr. Gupta, in a way as perhaps you...
Rajiv, can I add one more point?
Yes. Yes, Dr. Sethi, very quickly, please.
I've not been able to figure out, I was native of Delhi. One of my family was in the All India Institute on the first one week. Or, I had my grandson delivered there. But the question is, half the hospital is lying vacant because a VIP might need a bed. The OPDs are shut. The emergency work is being done. The question is, when you have a premier institute of the country, who should be leading the war on COVID, is shut. It's like telling the Indian Army to go on leave if the Chinese attack because somebody may get injured. Question is, you have to take on a war footing. We have two chess institutes in our city, the Patel Chess Institute and the National Institute in Maroni. Both have to be brought into the link to fight the war. They've got the physicians, they need all the leaders and infrastructure. So the government must go through the list of hospitals
Dr. Sethi,
with all over the country which can be brought in. I'll give you a very local example. An ophthalmologist in Orissa converted one of his eye patient beds into a COVID ward. He's supplying oxygen to the patients who need it. He's giving them steroids as an ophthalmologist, reading the pharmacopoeia. And when they turn critical or fuel cut blue, he refers them to the district hospital. This way, the district of Sambalpur is getting some beds of COVID care. The majority of the medical fraternity is sitting outside.
Okay, you made your point.
Because we are not trained or we are not really accessible by treatment. And why should elective surgery be allowed until such time as this COVID menace is tackled?
I think all of you have made your points. I hope that there are somebody out there is listening to what Dr. Gupta, Dr. Rao and Dr. Sethi have said. We need urgent solutions. Thank you all very much for joining us. We will continue to focus on this oxygen crisis in the days ahead.